Hey everybody, Matt here from Wheels Through Time. Super fun day here at the museum. We've got our friend Gary Brace here and we're working on a 1928 Harley Davidson JD. Now about a month ago, Gary contacted me and said that he was into trying to do the motorcycle cannonball. It's a kind of epic adventure. A lot of you guys know motorcycle cannonball, coast to coast endurance run on what's the date now?
1932.
Pre-1932 and older motorcycles. So Gary contacted us here at the museum and we've got this ultra cool 1928 Harley Davidson JD. So it'd be the perfect type of bike to do a cannonball. Gary, you're kind of new to old bikes, right? You've been riding, how long you been riding?
25 years now.
Riding 25 years. Awesome. But this is the first old bike that you've really dealt with. So way cool. Well, this is going to be really exciting. Riding an old bike, there's nothing like it. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, you can ride new motorcycles all day, but the connection between the rider and the old bike, there is absolutely nothing like it. Hopefully you're going to have tons of great miles on this bike. Now, the thing about today, we're going to get this bike running. It hasn't run in 30 plus years. So my dad got this bike from a good pal of his, Chuck Lipsky. Chuck was one of my dad's mentors and one of the guys that really got him into the old stuff. And Chuck was a JD guy, a Harley Davidson VL guy. Chuck was from Galesburg, Illinois, and a big mover and shaker in the antique motorcycle club, dating all the way back, I believe, into the 1960s. So very, very neat bike with tons of great history revolved around the antique motorcycle club. And we're going to get this bike running today. So we've got Chris here to help. We got Gary here to help. We've kind of made a checklist of some of the stuff that needs to be done on this bike. Now, again, bike was put up in good running order. Some of you guys might have seen the 47 Knucklehead fire up and run that we did maybe a couple months ago. That bike was put up in good shape. So bringing it back down, really no big deal. A lot of the standard things. Same here. This bike is a good running bike. When my dad put it up all those years ago after getting it from Chuck, he rode it a little bit, stored it properly. So hopefully it's going to be pretty standard stuff here to get her going again. We got install battery, check the tire pressure, oil in the trans, oil in the tank, check the rocker fit, check the points, you know, of course, oil the chain. We're going to check the float bowl. Anytime these bikes sit for a long time, I like to drop the float and make sure that the fuel system's clean. We're going to check some wiring. I noticed 1 or 2 wires was disconnected. So we're going to make sure that all that's up to snuff. We're going to add gas, and hopefully we'll be firing this thing up and riding around by the end of the day. Stay with us, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right. So, Chris, if you want to jump in, we'll just leave the list there. If you want to jump in on the battery, tire pressure, oil in the trans, I can get to looking at some of the other stuff. Now, Gary, I'll kind of lead you through this. So what you can do is just kind of observe. And one of the things that, you know, you've got compression, spark, and fuel to fire up an old bike. To get anything running, doesn't matter if it's new or old, compression, spark, and fuel is what's going to get you there. So we've already kicked the bike over. We know it's got great compression. So we're a third of the way there. Next thing what we're going to do now is check the spark. Chris is getting the battery hooked up. I'm going to look at the points. We're going to look at the coil. When we get that battery hooked up, we're going to try and turn the ignition on, make sure we've got fire. And then at that point, I'll get around to the carburetor and check the float. These points look absolutely perfect at first glance. Nothing corroded, nothing dried out. Now, the way that this works, JD Distributor, I'll turn my flashlight on here. JD Distributor, advance and retard, works just like this, okay? You've got retard, roll back, advanced, roll forward. You run under full advanced conditions. So the points break right here. Points look real good. Spring feels real good. This is obviously newly rebuilt with few hours on it. And I say newly rebuilt, I mean it was done 30, 40 years ago, but there's not a lot of hours on this. The points are not corroded. I might just, nope, not pitted. I'll run a piece of sandpaper through there and make sure it's clean. We'll spin it over, make sure the gap's proper. So let's check that gap right off the bat. So we've got it looks like it might be a little tight. So points gap on a Harley Davidson is 22 thousandths of an inch. And 20's all right, 24's all right. We're gonna try and nail it and make sure it's right where it's supposed to be. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. Points are set. Now this is actually kind of neat. It's actually like a 2-year, for JDs, it's a 2-year only distributor. Actually, it's a timer. Early on, the actual coil was a 1-wire coil, and it went back to the cap, and the plug wires came out of the cap, so technically that's your distributor. Commonly used interchangeably, so most of your Harley guys all the way in through the 60s. Timer, distributor, they'll say it twice in the same sentence 2 different ways. So timer is set, points are set. Chris is about ready. You're ready to bolt that battery in? Let me get out of your way over here. Right. Now, what's really cool about the Cannonball, tough thing to do, guys, the motorcycle Cannonball. Gary's teamed up with our pal Ben Brown. Ben's a 2-time, well, he ran the Cannonball once in 2016 on a 1915 Harley that I restored for him. Perfect score. Ben is an absolutely an ace rider, maintains his bike like nobody else, and he's really the perfect guy to have with you on the Cannonball. Him and Artie are going to do a great job for you, tuning, keeping you maintained and dialed in. So Ben helped another rider last Cannonball in 2021, and they ran a perfect score on a 1928 JD. So same motorcycle. Ben knows this bike really, really well. Now, one of the things about the Harley Davidson JD is total loss oil system. So it doesn't circulate down and back up to the tank. It just meters it down. Okay. So you get in a pinch, you're out in the middle of the road on the Cannonball, and you look down in there and you only got a quart of oil in the bottom, you're fine, because it's not circulating. So it's just metering it down a little bit at a time. Okay. So you want to keep that thing full because to keep your oil cool. You know, the more that's in there, you got heat rising off the engine. So the more oil that you're in there, the better. But don't panic if you look down and you don't see a ton of oil in there when you're on the road. Yeah. Beautiful. Boom. Oh, yeah. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful spark. And in fact, I didn't even clean the points yet, so we're just going to leave that. Let's go ahead and put some new plugs in it, Chris, while I'm checking the float. We'll go ahead and put those new auto lights in there. It appears that there's a rubber piece on this fuel line, and I would imagine that's because they put a Linkert bowl, which is what you want to run, on a Schebler fuel line. So I may have to unsweat this fuel line and put another fitting on it real quick. We'll find out.
You're just making sure the float's not stuck?
Yeah, I'm making sure the float, that the needle and seat seal right, and I also am going to make sure that we don't have a pile of nasty gas down in there in this scenario. See, this may require the carburetor coming off. Looking at this, so yeah, I'll tell you what, we're gonna go ahead and take the carburetor off anyway. It's just gonna be the right thing to do. Beautiful. Gasket looks good. Okay, let's see what we've got here. Yeah, there was gas left in it, so check it out, guys. The needle and seat, yeah, it is a Linkert needle and seat. It's sticky. Doesn't seal, so we'll put a new rubber ducky float in there and a new needle and seat. Make sure that's operating good. We'll do that while this is soaking in the ultrasonic. As you can see, the old spring's still in there. I don't know how well you guys can see, but there's a pile of grime and crud right down there in the main jet. We'd have never got this thing fired up and running the way that it should be. So easy fix. It's going to take us a couple minutes in the ultrasonic, and then bolt it back on, and I think we'll be ready to fire it up. So So we get some inspection on how everything looks as it's coming apart here. Ultra rare air cleaner. What an awesome air cleaner. And I shouldn't even say air cleaner. It's really just a scoop. And just a couple years only they ran this. And for these one of these original, it's just such a great part. Yeah, a little gunk in there. It's not, you know, functionally it seems fine. There was just fuel left in the system there. Low speed jet on this side. Little nasty on the bottom down there on the taper. High speed jet was actually stuck. Looks pretty clean though, so that's good. All of that looks in fantastic condition. I like to strip them down as far as I can when I put them in the ultrasonic. You just may as well, and they are easy carburetors to put back together. Let it work. So we always say, and I've been over this a million times, needle and seat on a carburetor, crucial. It's what not just keeps your carburetor from leaking, but the needle and seat with the float assembly is what keeps the fuel level inside of your carburetor where it needs to be, and the level of fuel inside of the carburetor entirely determines your mixture. So crucial stuff. When it's set, never changes. But if it's set up wrong, you're gonna be fighting. Okay, so anytime that you install new float components, we'll have to change the float level itself. Easy enough to do, but it's one of those things you want to be mindful of. And first thing to do is make sure that we're sealing. Got suction on the lip. We're looking good. Float level right at about 1/4 inch. Seal's nice. Float level raised just a little bit. Come on up. There we go. That's it. All right, guys, so it was an absolute battle to get the main nozzle out. Tapped it, pulled it, broke the screw, tapped it again, finally got it out. And as you guys can see, this is the sort of grime and dirt that gets in the main nozzle there. There are 4 holes right there, specific size. All 4 of them were plugged up. We'd have never been mixing fuel and air properly. That's what those holes do. So I believe we're set now. That thing finally came out. I'm going to get this cleaned up one more time. We're going to go back together, and we should be set. Carburetor goes on here, and gasket was good. So let's start with the top screw there, Chris. I've got to get that throttle lever on there too, which is always a little bit tough when it's underneath a JD tank. So we've been having fuel line issues, and what we're going to do is spend some time properly cleaning and prepping that thing, and we'll get it fixed and get it installed. In the meantime, for the sake of expediency, we are installing a rubber fuel line here, just so you guys can hear this thing fire up and run for the first time in, I think, 35 years. So, Chris, you said, Gary, you guys pumped oil down into the lower end?
We did.
Seemed like you got
pumps.
4 good pumps? Okay.
We did.
Okay, guys, so we're thinking 4 good pumps is probably 3.5, 4 ounces. I think we're going to be able to run. Okay, Chris, let's pop some gas in it. All right. Fingers crossed. Still dry as a bone. There we got fuel. All right, here we are. Ignition. That's nice. Cooler on the rear as usual. Yeah, that's the one that gets all the oil.
Oh, I see. Okay, really. So when I'm underway, want to be the opposite?
What's that?
When I'm underway, want to be the opposite?
Not really.
Really? Okay.
It's nice and warm, retarded, no throttle. Yeah. No throttle. I missed it. Yeah. So that's, you get to a point where the thing's gonna get dialed in and you'll be able to kick start at one kick every time. So. Yeah. Key off, key on, and I'm not touching the throttle or the spark.
Okay.
So that's. We're gonna do it till we get stopped.
Till we get stopped.
Till it doesn't do it.
Oh.
We're on a run now. We gotta keep going. So. Wow, it's a free engine, that's for sure. And there's not a lot of engine noise to it at all.
No,
Way cool, man.
Sounds really good.
You got a lot of work to do before the cannonball. But,
I'm up to it.
But it's a good start and a excellent example of 28 JD. built and restored by one of the best. Chuck was the man, and one of the guys that inspired my dad to do what he did over his next 40, 50 years. So I wish you luck, man. Anything we can do.
Yeah, man. Thanks, brother.
Stay in touch about it, and I'll be, here to help you however I can. You need parts, call me. You got great guys with Ben and Artie. Between you and Ben and Artie and me, I'm happy to help however I can. But you guys are gonna have a blast.
Yep. And it'll be a real tribute to ride this thing, in honor of your dad and Chuck.
That's awesome of you to say, man. I appreciate that a lot. Definitely. Guys, thanks a ton for tuning in. Another one here running at Wheels Through Time, 35 plus years or so since this one breathed smoke. And this one's going to be running 3,300 plus miles. Cannonballs where to where?
Virginia Beach to Huntington Beach, California.
Virginia Beach to Huntington Beach, California. 3,000, 3,500, might be upwards of 4,000 miles depending on the route that they do, guys. So keep an eye out. We'll be doing future programming on when you bring this thing back. Call me. We'll do some more filming on it so you guys can catch up. And just a great day here at Wheels Through Time. Thanks for tuning in. If you guys are digging what you see, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you come to Wheels Through Time. Most importantly, check this place out. 375 all-American motorcycles. And as you guys know, they all crank up and go. So we'll see you next time.